Am I good?
Yeah, your beard is just...
My beard's good?
Sticking out like weird.
Awesome. Hey, good morning, dreamers. Welcome back to Chasing Dreams Homestead. Mama Dreams and I are going to go over our 5 goals for the homestead this year. Now, of course, we got many more goals than that. Everyone does. But we're going to try to focus on getting these 5 goals done. Not necessarily in this order. You know,
things happen.
Things do happen. Priorities change, weather conflicts.
Yeah.
You know, I've got squirrel. I mean, stuff happens. But we're going to do our best to try to get these 5 things done this year around our homestead. So we'll go over them with them. You want to do it?
Sure. All
right. Let me get some of this coffee.
We had to write them down because our memories aren't that great.
Squirrel. All right. So, number 1 on the list is we are going to redo our frugal fence. We'll take you outside. We'll show you that fence in a minute. But we just want to redo it. It's worked. It's kept all the animals in except for Ghost, our Great Pyrenees. But it's got age on it now.
Yeah.
It worked for the time. And we don't have a lot of money, so it was just something that we slapped together, and it's done its job. Sometimes homesteading, you want to try to make everything pretty and presentable. I mean, I know I want to, but the reality is it would have cost me thousands of dollars to make the fence I had in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we did it for like next to nothing. Folks gave us old fence boards that they took down and were replacing, so we repurposed those. We used some sawmill slats, all these things. You'll see it when we show you the fence. But that's one of our goals, is to redo the fence, and we're going to make it taller, and we're also going to...
more aesthetically pleasing.
And she wants it more aesthetically pleasing, so that's
just a little bit. Like, I mean, everyone around us, knows where we live.
Mm-hmm. So,
just the curb appeal would be a little bit better for that's what I want.
So we're going to make it more aesthetically pleasing. We're going to make it taller. And we're going to put an electric line at the bottom and at the top to hopefully keep Ghost in. Fingers crossed. We love Ghost so much. He's the sweetest dog ever. But he just really wants to go protect everybody else's property too from predators. You know, in the past we had neighbors that really appreciated that. Now we've got some neighbors that just don't want anyone else's animal on their property, and that's their right. So we're doing our best to be good neighbors and keep him up. So we'll take you guys outside and we will show you the fence so you can see what we had done and what had worked for a couple years now, and what we will be replacing this year. All right, so we'll take you guys on a little tour of our redneck fence. That Blake Shelton song, Red, Red, Redneck, comes to mind, I guess. I don't know if you can see it real well, but right there, thornless blackberry bush from Mr. Richard Smith. We appreciate it, brother. It's doing well. But, yeah, so that board fell off in a storm. We had to hurry up and patch it so the dogs wouldn't get out. Just make do with what you can. But I'll tell y'all, those sawmill slats have been there for 3 years and are still doing their job. She just wants aesthetically pleasing, and I don't blame her. So, if you walk down the fence line, like I said, these are old fence boards. Old fence boards somebody gave us, and we turned them into privacy fencing. The geese hear their daddy, and they're throwing a fit. Man. Then we've got these. They're starting to come apart a little bit. So, we got to repair all that. This part actually doesn't look very bad, but it's just too short. We should have made it taller, but it is what it is. But yeah, so that's what we got going on with this fence, and that's what we're going to work on improving this year, so that, as Mama Dream said, it's more aesthetically pleasing and keeps our animals in better. Mainly Ghost. Oh, look, River. There's River. Hey, baby. But gotta do what works for you, and this has worked for us for a number of years, and it didn't cost us much more than time, nails, and screws.
Oh, I thought he was waiting to use.
I know he was looking at me. He's like,
Cameraman's a little.
Our cameraman's still half
slow this
asleep, y'all.
morning.
All right, so we showed you the fence. Again, it's worked. It's some pretty redneck stuff, but in a pinch, it's worked. Another thing on our list is we're going to establish a dry lot around our barn.
Yeah.
So we've got what we've been calling the barn pen, and it works. But we want to have an area because the water table is so daggum high here.
Yeah.
We want to have an area that we know without a doubt is going to be dry even in the wettest of the wet season for our hoofed animals. So we've got a goal to make the barn pen itself a dry lot. And then also in addition to that, we're going to make another separate dry lot off the side of the barn where we will put our coonies in, especially when they are going to farrow.
Mm-hmm.
That way we could just keep piglets out of mud and really be able to get in there and work with them really well, even during the wettest of the parts of the year. Are you pretty excited about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Initially, we had ideas of putting 2 cooney farrowing barns at the very back of our property.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, our buddies Dirk and Natalie Smith, they've got Mama Bear's Homestead and more. That's a mouthful, but it's spot on because, you know, we've got a Homestead channel, but we do so much more. We probably should have threw and more in there. You guys are smart for that. But they mentioned in their first video that, you know, sometimes when you have a project, and we've got, like them, 25 ongoing projects all the time, you want to get that project done, but sometimes you get frustrated. You're like, oh, and then you start messing up because you just want it done. So the older I've gotten, the more I've been like, you know what? If I'm getting ticked off, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go do something else. And then I'm going to come back with a fresh set of eyes and not grr. But that's also worked out to my advantage, not even in situations where I'm ticked off. Originally, I wanted to put the 2 farrowing cooney barns at the very back of the property.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the cost of electric wire right now is crazy. And I would have to run some serious heavy gauge wire not to lose any kind of wattage or have a voltage drop going to the very back of the property. We had liked the idea because it would kind of create a privacy wall between us and another neighbor. But the more we thought on it, we've already got power ran to our barn. So when we do that dry lot in our barn, we're just going to build the 2 farrowing barns off the side of our barn. So then we'll be able to easily tap the power. And it'll also be closer to the house, so it'll be easier to tend to the animals there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it keeps them out of the barn. I mean, the barn, I could put them in there for, like, you know, winter a little more, but it'll be a lot easier to clean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
we're
gonna
our barn stalls that are flooring is not the greatest because it's so old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another reason that we're choosing to do that for the pigs.
Yeah, because currently we have Tippy in the barn stall farrowing, but like she mentioned, it's an old barn. This barn is so old, it's got peg and post construction, which I am really enamored by. I love old architectural engineering. I think it's beautiful. But it's got wood slat floors. Sorry. And we've had to repair those floors from water damage. And then obviously animals have to use the bathroom. So if you've got an animal penned up in there, even with all the bedding in the world, there's going to be some moisture problems.
Right. Yeah, we've got, not in that one, but in our other one, we've got the what is it? Is it plastic? Vinyl?
Yeah. We were very blessed. Our buddy TJ worked for an ambulance company, or not an ambulance company, but a company that retrofitted vehicles and installed handicap ramps and whatnot on the vehicles. And so that rubber matting, all the cutoffs, they can't really use it. It's not long enough. So he gave us several rolls of that, and we put that down in one of the stalls. We had enough to do one of the stalls.
Repurposing.
That's right, repurposing. But so when we do the cooney barns on the outside of the barn, we will not have a wood floor. We will keep the floor the coarse lime. We really like the coarse lime, but that'll also allow any,
it's easier to clean.
It's easier to clean, but it'll allow any urine to just go on down into the dirt instead of rotting wood. So that's a benefit to doing it outside, and it'll also free up more hay storage space in the barn. So that's always a big plus for us.
Yeah.
Another thing on our list is we want to use our homesteading journey to encourage at least one new family to get into homesteading. At least for me and Mama Dreams, we really like to encourage other people and empower other people. I mentioned earlier Dirk and Natalie's new YouTube channel. I don't know if I was the first person they told that they were making it, but I was so proud of them and so excited for them. And we encourage people all the time, you know, hey, share your journey.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are awesome. You're funny. People will relate to you. Just be you. Don't be so shy to be in front of the camera. You know, we hosted meet and greets. We went to Amber's meet and greet yesterday. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time sitting and talking with people. And we finally got to meet some dreamers that were in far north Indiana that we've not yet met. So for us, we really like to encourage people. We like to build the community, and we like to do things that are going to support one another. So a goal for us, for our homestead, is to hopefully get another family into homesteading.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows who they'll be or when we'll come across them, but God will lead them to us. I know it. So that's going to be something that we do, or at least really try our best to do this year. Mama Dreams has a goal to do.
So, Genesis Grace, bless her heart, she gets excited about stuff, but she's 12, so it lasts like a minute. So last year, her and her dad put all his energy into getting the cut flower bed up in the front of the property together for her, and they planted and whatnot, and then Genesis got busy with her preteen life and was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't really care for it and have time for it. So it kind of fell to the wayside. We had some gorgeous sunflowers and a lot of other flowers. So I fell in love with the flower colors, and so I am going to attempt to take over this year for the upfront area with the flowers, and Chase wants to go and do more of a medicinal flower bed too up here. So got a lot of things going on that. So hopefully I can, you know, stay on task and stay focused with my brain. So that's what I've got planned. That's what I chose to. I don't know much about flowers and keeping stuff alive. I'm lucky my kids stay alive. But
You're silly.
Just kidding.
You got a nurturing spirit.
I do, but as far as plants go, I don't have a green thumb. I don't. He really does. I do not. So this is going to be a new challenge for me and a new task for me, and we'll see how I do. And I'm glad that you guys are gonna come along for all of these goal journeys with us. So that's what I'm also really excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she was saying, I feel like if there was ever a time that it's really, really important to start being in control of your own health, it's now. Things are just kind of getting crazy. I won't go too far into that, down that rabbit hole, but I really want to get a medicinal garden bed established so that we have medicinal plants that we can use. I'm really bought into holistic and natural remedies. Starting to get her a little bit more into it. It's kind of something that she's wary of, but I honestly think that God puts things on the planet for us to use, and that the things that he provides us with are far often better for us than anything that we manipulate as people and try to turn into something. So I've enjoyed learning more and more about medicinals. In the group, we are actually starting Medicinal Mondays that will filter in and out with the Money Saving Mondays. So that'll give folks an opportunity to teach me, because I'm new on my medicinal journey. I've got some really great friends that reach out to me whenever we have a sickness and offer suggestions. And sometimes they're like, oh man, I don't want to give you unsolicited advice. I'm like, tell me all of it. I want to know. You know, so that's something that I'm excited to do this year. I'm going to try to get a medicinal garden bed established. And along with her flowers, obviously flowers are pollinators, but we're wanting to have some pollinators established that'll come back year after year as well. Most cut flowers are not a year after year kind of situation. So we're going to really work on establishing a pollinator bed as well. We did one in the front, and it was awesome. poor planning on my part. I did it inside the fence,
Mhm.
and we allow the animals to run around inside the fence. So the dogs trampled it, and then the coonies enjoyed whatever was left.
Yep.
So I got smarter about it, and it will be outside of the fence, away from the animals. And like Dirk said, and I hear stuff from people all the time that resonates with me. And Dirk said that nothing you do is a failure. It's an experiment. And spot on. We love to experiment, and we're not shy about experimenting. I mean, some of our best lessons have came from experiments that we've done. And just because something works for someone else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't know all the different variables that go into their part of the experiment. You know what I mean? We try to replicate experiments, but we might have a different variable. It could be a different humidity, a different kind of fungus in the ground, a different temperature. So many different variables that it's hard to pinpoint down. So never be afraid to experiment. And the last thing that we're going to try our best to do,
I'm not really sure that's 5 things, because that's a lot in number 5.
Not really, because we already talked about the Cooney barn. It's improve our infrastructure. So we talked about the Cooney barn. The other thing is I'm going to try to get some PVC plumbed so that we have water in the very back of the property. We've not poured a lot into the infrastructure here because we knew that this 1 acre was not our forever home. But our girls keep pushing and pushing that they want to graduate from Eastern, so they're going to stay at Eastern. And
6 more years at least.
So we're here for at least 6 more years, so I might as well make it as good as I can for the 6 years that we're here. That's not saying if we find a property between now and then that we won't get that property and start working on that property, but we will not be moving from this house for 6 years. So we go through, I don't know, 20 garden hoses a year.
Yeah, like it's multiple things of why the hoses get left out in the yard, so the dogs tear them up, the animals chew them up, they bust, and from either the heat or
getting left on and forgot to be turned off.
We've done really good on that, of not leaving the hose on.
I thought we were going over ways that they've been busted in the past.
They have, but I'm just saying that was like a big issue with us, everybody leaving the hose on. My water bill was crazy, and we have finally got that under control.
Yeah.
But it busting, and hoses are not cheap.
No, they have like doubled in price, y'all. My goodness.
A good hose.
A good hose that used to be $30 is now $64. So I was like, it's time to just knuckle up and get this stuff plumbed so that we can save money.
So we don't have to drag hoses all the way to the back of our property, because we have in the very corner, left corner, we have a chicken coop, and we've got them, what is it?
It's a big auto water trough.
There you go. An auto water trough back there for them. So you have to fill that up every so often and clean it out.
I think we got to use 425 feet of hose to get to it to fill it. So.
That, and then, we've got now the pigs have their own water drums, so those have got to be filled out. So just dragging hose all over the yard, especially when it's muddy in the wintertime, like no one wants to do that. So it's time for us to definitely get that done. Plus we need to change out
we got to change out our no freeze.
Yeah, our no freeze has been needed. So it's just it's time to just kick ourselves in the boot butt and get it done. So
yep. So those are our 5 goals for this year. And like I said, we're going to have more, I'm sure. But we really want to try to get those done. And I think it's good to give yourself direction. That's something that we often talk about, is because we know this isn't our forever home. Just because an acre is just not simply enough for us to do all that we have in our mind. And our goal is one day to have a big enough place that our kids can build on it if they want to. I mean, how cool would that be to see your grandkids running across the field to come visit you, So we know this isn't our forever home, but we're going to do our best to do like Bud said and grow where we are planted. So we've been planted here, and we're going to make the most of it. And I was telling some folks yesterday at Amber's meet and greet, you would be surprised at what you can do with a small space. Folks think that you need so much land to be able to grow and be self-sufficient, but you don't. Granted, we don't have enough land to grow our livestock feed like we have a dream of doing.
And I want more pasture for my coonies.
Yeah,
Like,
we want more pasture for sure.
I don't want them to just be stuck in mud all the time, and that's what we have right now. We are. Oh, can I add number 6? So, our first set of pigs were AGH and Tamworth.
Yeah, AGH and Tamworth
I
crosses.
love them.
They were sweet girls.
I'll have to go back and look and add some pictures in, but I could lay out in the yard just like with the coonies and like prop my feet up on one and my back on the other, and we could just sunbathe out in the yard.
And we're talking 400 and 500 pound sows.
Yeah,
not no small pigs.
No. Well, the thing about them, they have long snouts. They're rooters. They rooted up the whole backyard. I had a gorgeous grassy backyard when we moved here, and those pigs tore up every inch of our backyard, so we have absolutely no grass.
It wasn't just the pigs.
Goats too.
No, it wasn't the goats.
What?
The sheep.
Oh yeah. Then bright idea. Let's get sheep. Not knowing or forgetting that they will strip down the grass.
They don't graze. They pull it out by the root.
Took all of. I forgot we've had sheep before. I don't care for sheep, but yeah. So pigs, goats, and sheep have completely stripped it back there. So we have to work on regrowing grass back there for our chickens and the goats and my coonies. So being able to put everybody up and grow this grass, so that's gonna be a journey that y'all are gonna get to see from beginning to end of my grass coming back.
Yeah.
I hope. Chase put winter grass or winter seed out in the front so that we could put the coonies up there.
First winter ever, it stayed bright green.
Yeah,
awesome.
like it's funny because you'll see our front yard is like bright green, and then you'll see our hill that's like has already died over from the winter.
Whatnot,
or you see other yards and you're like, we got one spot that's like super green in the whole front yard. So I was happy with how quick it grew up there, and that it really is like still really green up there. So I'm super excited about this journey. So pray for us that we get grass in the backyard. And as much as the animals have been back there now, that soil back there is black.
Oh yeah, it's loaded. It's loaded. Absolutely, it looks like a feedlot around a hay bale ring.
Yeah.
If you're just out on a country ride, or if you've got cows of your own, you know how it happens. They get all around that hay bale ring, and they just turn it to black mud eventually. Yeah. But it's super fertile, so we're gonna be sprouting stuff like crazy. I'm not worried about that. The big thing is just getting the animals away from it long enough for it to grow. We've got a pig that we're taking to the butcher March 6th, and after that point, I'll be able to pin animals up until the grass and the various other forage plants that we plant get established. So we're looking forward to that a whole lot because, who wants to waste all that space in just mud? That's a food opportunity for not only the animals but for us as well. We're also expanding our garden, so those are a lot of things that we got to get done.
Yeah, try to get it done for summer.
Right.
That's our goal because we want to spend a lot of time on the kids this summer, especially the 2 that visit from Carolina. Spend as much time with them as we can. So it's gonna be really busy these next few months. This rain can stop. I feel like it's rained for a month here, off and on, between rain and snow. It
has. It's just southern Indiana. They literally call it the mud season, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But guys and gals, we appreciate y'all being on our journey. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. If you've got a YouTube channel, let us know about it. We will definitely support you and subscribe to it. We encourage people all the time to get their YouTube channels going. And we would love to hear about your goals for your homestead this year. Sometimes other people's goals might be like something that resonates with you, and you're like, I didn't even think of that. That's a pretty good goal. Maybe we ought to incorporate that.
Yeah.
So please feel free to share them in the comments section and let us know what you're doing. And as always, y'all, till next time.
Keep dreaming.